Daki chenyen ki besenam ki rola penchir sangye dubasho chedan soki chonama chanchu badu dami kapsuchi Daki chenyen ki besenam ki Chola penshir sangye dupasho Chedan toki chonama Chanchu padu dadmi kapsuchi Daki chenyen ki besenam ki Chola penshir sangye dupasho Okay. By the way, I wanted to say that the most important thing in fundraising is thanking your sponsors and showing gratitude and really making a lot of time, spending time to thank them carefully, slowly, sincerely, okay? So I want to say the selling of the book in the last 2 months, Scott did all the auctions because he's very loud. And I used his loud voice. So he auctioned the book. Like in Moscow, we made $6,000. We even made, we sold it for a couple $1,000 in Kazakhstan, all Muslims. And because of Scott, he's so you should thank him. Brigitte took all the books to Germany, heavy books, 20 I think, and we sold them very well there, so thank them. Stanley Nelson and Jigme, and who else was that? Tim organized getting the books to Vancouver. Tim, who organized Bali? 500 books to Bali.
Well,
Sugang organized that. So please thank people. Yali pushed your book in Bali. If it wasn't for Yali, we would have sold 3. So you really should thank them, okay? If you got some money today, I expect you to thank your sponsors, okay? It's just smart, because then you give, duh. Okay, all right. Okay, term 10. Nagarjuna 60 verses. We've covered, this is a difficult text, we covered a lot, 35 folio faces. We have appendix text, appendicitis. So we've done 49 folio faces total. We went slow in the beginning because it's extremely difficult text. It is the most difficult text by far. And the author is just, it seems like he doesn't want you to understand. So I made a mistake in this calculation, Nick. I think we have to 53 folios. Anyway, we're going to finish around a year from now. 2 years from now. A year and a half. Yeah. And the book will be, I suggest splitting the book into 2 books maybe, okay? The second book would be short, but I don't know. We have to talk about it. Maybe we don't. Okay, yeah, okay. Maybe it's not a good idea to split it, okay. All right, so we are, here we go. You ready?
Yep. Kayan Tongwa Mebani Tekona Tongwao Shisun de Arangshin Meba Nipa Mite To Shena.
Yeah, now he's quoting a book, She Sun Pe. Somebody said, and I'm going to show you who it was, and it happened to be the Buddha. Somebody said, Gayan Tonga Mebani Dekone Ni Tonga.
Some people
No, this is a quotation from the Buddha. The sung is high honorific. No, high honorific. Buddha said, what? Gayang means Kangyang. Matong.
Some people,
Kangyang Matong.
Oh.
some people don't see.
Whatever?
Yeah, no.
Whatever.
When you manage to see nothing at all,
Right.
that's Dekona ni
Time you
Tonga.
saw something.
Then you've seen emptiness, okay? Gayan Tonga Mepani, not seeing anything at all, is to see emptiness. Okay? And he's quoting Lord Buddha. Okay? That is what it is to see suchness, tattva. Okay? Therefore, when you guys talk about locating the fact that nothing has any nature of its own, that's mite.
Incorrect.
Yeah, that's not correct. The Buddha said, seeing emptiness is when you don't see anything. Okay? Don't talk about finding a lack of self-nature. That's incorrect. Yeah, okay? And I went and looked for it for you. By the way, it's the distinction between seeing nothing and seeing that something has nothing of a self-nature. That's a big difference, okay? Yeah. So I went and found it. It's a book called the Mahayana Sutra requested by the Tsangpa, the Brahma, Khyapa Sanghi, called Vishesha Chinti, special thoughts or something. Okay, Mr. Big Brain. Okay, and in there the Buddha says, Kang Towe, no. Towa mepani demba. Towa mepani demba tong. When you see nothing, you see the truth. Okay. So the quotation is not, it's perfect, but it's okay. All right. Go ahead. Teni.
Teni ramshin meba tok na mita ba la chashe shindu nangwa ta tanda nu ching.
Let's do that piece, okay? Rangshin Mepa. Teni means what that book is saying. Who's talking now? We are. Yeah, no. The Buddha didn't say that seeing nothing is seeing emptiness, which was what everyone in the world thinks it is, okay? So this is going to be helpful, okay? Teni, that quotation.
If you realize
good,
no self-nature.
If you realize that nothing has any nature of its own, which is to say fire is not hot, and aspirin cannot cure you. There's nothing in an aspirin that can help you, and there's nothing in a fire that makes it hot. Okay, they have no nature. Is it true?
It is true.
Yeah, it's coming from you. If an aspirin works for you, that's why aspirins don't work for everybody. Okay, and that's why these Hindu priests, you go to Varanasi, they pick up the hot coals and they hold them. Okay, they don't experience them as fire. Okay, got it? Rangshin Mepa Togna. And important, the S. We have to show off Nick today because his sister here. I'd like to introduce his sister and thank her for coming. Yeah.
It's great to help Aaron and I have a little relief. Because we're just watching the baby all the time, so it's very difficult not to have much family around. So
she's the emergency.
Twice in the last couple months.
What's that?
She flew out twice in the last couple months.
Thank you. You did a lot for our. You did a lot for our translation group. So try to make Nick look smart. Okay, it's going to be hard. This Tokes is spelled with an S. Can you talk about that?
If Tokes is spelled with an S at the end, it means realize. If it were spelled without the S, then it would mean, maybe understood, maybe didn't understand.
Yeah, imagine. Okay, so this is. Oh, good. So nail it down. If you realize, so it's realize as opposed to think. Think can be wrong, he thinks he's smart. Okay, but realize, I thought I was dumb, but now I realize how smart I am. Okay, it's always correct. Okay, so if you see that things have no nature of their own, it's as if mig tarpala.
It's as if we saw the pureness.
A good eye, meaning an eye that's not blind. Okay, a functioning eye. Okay. Tashe for $50. $50. Damn. No, he already got it. $50. That was fast. This is like those karate matches that end in 30 seconds,
Okay, they think that it's like a hair in, things appear like a hair in the sink.
By the way, that's where you call a plumber to bring a new sink because yours is cracked. And it's really just your hair is falling out and there's a hair on the porcelain. So that's a famous example in Buddhism, okay? For misperception, okay? You call the plumber and you spend money and he just throws it out and there's nothing wrong with it, which many plumbers do in my house. Dapala tashe shindu, as if it were a hair. Nawa tadak noob, $20 for the noob.
Sets.
The sins.
West.
Nawa noob.
It disappears.
Nawa noob.
Sunset.
What's nawa?
Appear.
Yeah, all these false appearances are subside. They subside in the mind. No, they were there strong, and then they kind of they deflate. Okay, tadak means all of them, nu ching, and you no longer tongwa them.
You don't see that.
So when Buddha said to see emptiness is to not see, what did he mean?
But you don't see things wrongly.
Yeah, you don't have any more wrong appearances in your mind. And that's what he meant when he said to see emptiness is to see that there's nothing there. That's all he meant, okay? He just meant that. None of your wrong impressions are there anymore. They have nup, which is the ancient word for setting of the sun.
Right.
Therefore, west.
Right. But here it means fade. Nang wat tadak nu. The whole thing together.
Sanskrit for west.
Oh, pashi.
Yeah, that's cheating. Okay, I'm not even going to give you that. Okay. It's a famous yoga pose because you bend the back of your... Okay, gone topa. Okay, so you realize it. How you see emptiness is that you don't see the old misperceptions that you used to see. Okay, got it? All right. Go ahead. Bumpa.
Bumpa yena. Miksu rungwale. Bumpa ma mikpale. Bume tokpa jokpa yinki. Rangshin me ba yong chutu. Tok yume be tok tu tokpa yinki. Chiang ma tongwa. Te kona tong she jokpa nimente.
Okay, good. Bumpa yuna.
Something's a pot.
No, not. Yeah, if there's a coffee cup on the table, okay, it's a mixoruma.
It's appropriate to see.
Yeah, it should be something you can see. Okay, it should be something you can see.
You can see it.
Soft disjunctive now. Whereas, okay, instead of but, right? Okay. Bumpa ma mikpale.
If there is no pot,
If you don't see a pot.
Yeah. So it's basically he's saying existence or non-existence in Buddhism is based on perception with a
Object.
accurate perception. Okay, if an accurate perception finds it, that thing exists. If an accurate perception cannot find it, that thing doesn't exist. That's what it is in Buddhism, to exist or not to exist. Okay, that's the definition of existing or not existing. So if there was a coffee cup there, therefore, it should be something you can perceive, okay? And if you don't perceive it, then...
you realize that it's there.
Well, then you can joke, you can establish that there is no coffee junk there.
Is that what the talk is doing there? It's like you establish.
Yeah.
Reality.
You establish this or realize it.
Yeah. It's different. If you don't perceive a coffee cup, okay, we can say that you have come to a realization of coffee cuplessness.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Because we're talking about emptiness, selflessness. Okay, so it's coffee cuplessness. And he's joking with the word retox.
Right.
Okay, then you have come to a deep realization of coffee cuplessness. And it's making a joke. He's kind of making a joke, okay?
That's what I thought.
But, keep going.
All right, I read the whole thing, but
Oh, I'm sorry. Rangshin Mepa.
young chidu. So you,
This Yongcha is difficult. I took a shot at it.
you thoroughly get rid of the root. I mean, like you eliminate.
In there's perceptual schools of perception in Buddhism that say what's Ndokpa.
To impute.
No, that's a different dog. LD.
Oh, opposite. Yeah.
Give me more information.
Suspicion, suspect.
No, that's wait. We just had it.
No, seeing the opposite of what is there. Thing that is not.
Yeah.
Thing by eliminating all that it's
Say it again more slowly, so for these guys can learn it.
that you come to see a thing by negating everything that is not it.
Good.
Opposed.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you establish things. You don't see when you're looking for a person in a crowded train station, and I don't know why I always think of the Hamburg train station or one of those. You look for your friend and you locate them by rejecting people who are not them. You see what I mean? You look at all the people and you say, that's not her, that's not her, that's not her, and then you come to her by process of elimination. That's Yongcha, okay? Yongcha means, it means a total cut, total cutting. It's a new verb, okay? Total cutting.
Total color.
Yeah, you cut everything else and you arrive at something. But he says
You arrive at.
you cannot perceive Rangshin Mepa that way.
Yeah, through the process of eliminating all the stuff that's not function.
Yeah, de Tokyu. Tokyu means possibility in this case, okay? Gyu means possible, okay? It's not something you could ever do. It's not something you could ever realize through the process of elimination. Okay, now that, you could write a thesis about it, and I'm not even going to touch it. But you can take it to the debate ground. That's how teachers in the monastery get out of explaining things. You guys take it to the debate ground, okay? Talk to Tumba Yinki, okay? What the Buddhist words was when he said, you see suchness by what? Not seeing anything.
Yeah.
He was referring, Tumba, okay? He was referring to how do you see emptiness, and it's not through a process of negation, okay? Double negation. Okay, now you gotta take that, okay?
Well, yeah.
Chiang Matoa Dedang, people who don't see anything at all.
Yeah.
It's plural people, okay? They konini tong, they saw suchness, jokpa, mayan.
Yeah, you can't say that they saw
Yeah,
suchness.
we're not saying that everyone who didn't see anything has seen emptiness, okay? Which is a very common misperception, okay? Okay, it's a difficult. Buddha did say that people who don't see anything see emptiness, but that's not what he meant. Those people who don't see the husband coming from the husband's side, they see emptiness. Got it? This false impression, this nawa of a husband who didn't come from me, which in our school is emptiness. There's no such thing. Everything you see in your husband is coming from you. Now, everything you see in your wife, half of that is coming from the wife. Right?
All the guys, Jeff's like,
Yeah, just kidding. Okay, go.
Tetana Mosham Kipula Yang Tekona Tongwei Tanye Chi Chirmi Do.
This is heavy.
If it were like that,
Go slow, go slow.
a barren woman
Yeah, good.
would also
Poo.
be seeing.
The poo of a barren
Oh,
woman.
the son of a barren woman would
Yeah.
also be seeing suchness. You could say.
No, we would have to apply.
You have to apply the
Oh,
same-
now it's a sarcastic statement. Chichir mendo.
You.
Why don't you?
Right. Why don't you?
Why don't you call? Why don't you say the word "I saw suchness"? Okay, to seeing the child of a woman who never had a child.
But there's only one tongue. Right?
Yeah. Why don't you, chichir? Why don't you, mindog, apply the word emptiness was seen to the child of a woman who never could have a child? Which means nothing because you don't see him.
Right.
So you must have seen it in suchness, because you didn't see her son, because she never had a son. Okay, got it?
Yep.
Why don't you, you're going to, it's sarcastic.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to say he saw suchness also? Why? He didn't see anybody's son. Why? They never had a son. Oh, ooh, you saw suchness. You're an Arya. Got it?
Be more comfortable if you said the lack of this
Yeah.
Well, the assumption is that it doesn't exist.
I'll have to massage the English a little bit. To make
Yeah, good luck on that.
English.
Okay, please read.
Sumpani, tema tela tanye be tema tang tun tam be tema ni su nge be te ju tela den ba ni su nge ba no.
Okay, we are in the third category. In the bold, I will go and get you the categories we're in, right? So I went and got it for you.
Thank you.
It's chang'e. What's chang'e? This is not D, it's G.
Just
Big difference. Same pronunciation exactly.
I'm not sure.
Tell us what the two are.
Exact number.
yeah.
Yeah, so the word nge
Why there are
can mean two, not one, not three. Okay, it can mean definite number.
two.
But what's it mean if it's DR and exactly same pronunciation?
The art of interpretation.
Yeah, some things are to be taken the way they seem. Some statements by Buddha are to be taken literally, and some are not to be taken. So the word here sounds exactly the same. The pronunciation is exactly the same. Okay, unfortunately. So we're not talking about what did the Buddha really mean, what did the Buddha didn't mean. We're not talking about that chang'e. We're talking here that why is there only two realities?
Yeah.
Okay, so far he defined the two realities,
Yeah.
then he divided them up,
Yeah.
and now he's going to say why there's not more and why there's not less. Why always two? What are the two realities he's going to talk about? I got to peek ahead.
Oh, we talked.
Wait, I think Kuntop and Dundam, is it? Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is.
we spent all last term going
Yeah.
through them.
Now, I'll tell you what it is. You explain to your sister. The two kinds of reality in the universe are ultimate reality and deceptive reality. Why? And what's the deceptive mean?
Deceptive reality is pretty much everything that that normal people are experiencing all the time. And it's deceptive because you think that things are a certain way, or we think that things exist a certain way, and they don't really exist that way. So there's a discrepancy between how we perceive things and how they truly exist.
I think he better take it to the
Kitchen.
much easier for your sister.
All right, so the idea is like this.
I got it up until the kitchen.
Yeah. So
Take it to the
there's
kitchen.
a modern famous sutra called the
Well,
Kitchen.
not so famous yet.
It's pretty famous, the Sutra of the Kitchen. And it goes like this. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'll explain this synopsis. Wife comes home. These days, the wife has to do all the cooking and the cleaning and the shopping and has to go to work. So she's, tired. And she just wants a hug from her husband. So she gets home, walks in the room, hoping for a hug. She walks in the room, husband says, "You're stupid." At that moment,
Whoa.
at that moment, there's two husbands in the room, okay? So, wait, let's rewind for a second. A couple days earlier, they have two kids, and the wife had an important business meeting the next morning. And she's talking to the kids, and she's like, "Look, I need you guys to be ready for school on time this time. I got an important business meeting, and I can't be late. So please have your shoes on and have your homework packed in your bag." This is a famous sutra, okay?
Future experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So she comes in the room in the morning. She's hoping the kids are going to be ready. The kids are jumping on the bed and the shoes are completely gone. Okay, and they didn't do their homework. So then she looks at the kids and she's pissed off and she's like, "You're the stupidest kids in Brooklyn." She's from Brooklyn.
Yeah. Brooklyn.
So then she goes and the husband calls her stupid, okay? So there's, I'm going to get to this point a little more quickly. So then husband calls her stupid and she's in that room at that moment, there's two husbands. Okay, that's what's called the search of the two husbands. I mean, there's not literally two husbands, but there's two husbands. Okay, the first husband, he's coming from your seats. So that means he's yelling at you because you yelled at the kids last week. The second husband, he's the care word. Can you do it for me? It's the Ireton thing. The Ireton thing. Which one? I didn't do anything. Yeah.
I didn't do anything. You yelled at me. I didn't even say anything. You yelled at me.
Yeah. So it's like that's the feeling that arises in your heart. I didn't do anything at all, and this guy's yelling at me. That husband didn't exist. He doesn't exist. He never could have existed. He doesn't exist. He never will exist in the future. That husband is non-existent. The absence of that husband, the fact that he doesn't exist, the lack of that husband in the room, that's the ultimate truth. That absence, that's the ultimate reality. So we're talking about two realities. The absence of that one that you thought was there, that's emptiness. So that's ultimate reality. The deceptive reality is the first husband, the one who's there, who's coming from your seeds. Why is it deceptive? Because you look at your husband and you don't see that it's coming from stuff that you did in the past. You see that it's coming from himself. That's the two realities in a nutshell.
Now, by the way, if you see the first one, you will never be angry. If you see, that's all. So anyway, why do you think, Nick, there's only two? Well, let's read it. Oh, okay. Did you read it? Oh.
Yes, I read it.
There's only two realities because there's only two perceptions of the two realities. That's his argument.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
There's conventional perception and ultimate perception.
Because the two faculties of perception, because the perceptions are limited to two, what they see is divided into two. Let's say your eye can only see red or blue. Then we would say reality only has two divisions, red and blue. Why? Because they've been confirmed by your eye. That's the Buddhist definition of existence, is if you see something and you're not crazy, that thing exists. Okay? So the reason we say there's two realities is that there's only two ways of seeing things. Okay? And Tanyepe Tsema, which is called conventional perceptions, and then Dendampe Tsema.
Yeah, ultimate correct perspective.
So in the kitchen, what's the Tanyepe Tsema?
The husband who's coming from your seeds.
No, Tsema.
The perception of the husband who's coming from your seeds.
The perception of the husband who's coming from your seeds. Is it correct?
If you're seeing that he's coming from your seeds, you could say it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
If you had not yelled at the children, he would not have called you stupid tonight. Buddhism says that. Yeah, okay.
The Dampe Tsema would be when you have a direct realization in meditation on the first level of the form realm.
Well, let's say there was an aha moment in the kitchen where you realized that the guy you used to be mad at was never there. There was never a husband in the kitchen who didn't come from yelling at the kids.
Is that a Dampe Tsema?
Yeah, I mean in the kitchen. Yeah.
It relates to what you were saying downstairs, that there is no Dampe Tsema in the kitchen.
Well, what I'm saying is this. Because there's two ways of looking at the husband, you can either believe he's coming from your seeds, or you can understand that he could never not be coming from his seeds. Therefore, there's two modes of it. There's two realities. There's two realities because there's two ways of looking at it, validly. Okay. Got it? It's very interesting.
Wouldn't the deceptive one have to be that he's coming from your seeds, but you don't realize it?
No, because we're talking about Tsema here. It has to be a correct perception.
So the Tanyepe Tsema is basically the direct perception of dependent origination?
Exactly. Yeah. There's two kinds of realities. Why? Because there's two ways of looking at reality. That's all. That's all.
Well, isn't there
and there's no more and there's no less. Nyepa.
Way we're totally clueless?
Well, he says no. He's proving Nyepa. Okay. Okay. There's two valid ways of looking at the husband in the kitchen. Either you see that he's coming from seeds, or you see that he's not coming from seeds.
She's asking why just two?
Give me another one.
I see. He is, there is, there isn't.
The other one would just need to be false.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
It's valid.
you got to think about it. But the point is, in Buddhism, reality is divided according to the way of looking at reality. It's not, even the division of reality is not coming this way.
Yeah.
Okay, got it?
That's very Buddhist.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. That was a short section. Okay. The two realities are only two because no more, no less, because there's only two states of mind. Then we're going on to the fourth one, which is now Namshak Den La Papa. How do we really establish these two realities? Okay. All right. Shibani. Okay, who's got the plane? Brigitte, you want to pick on him? Embarrass him in front of his sister. This is a rare opportunity.
Shi Tang, Lam Tang, Jai Pu, Chi Tang, Yor Nam, Yi She Par Chate. Taeyang Nang Tam Di, Chu Chen Rang Shin Mete, Tenja Yin Bei Chi, Chibe Tao Jur Dila Dempa Nika. Sangte, tak su sungwa, kunso tang, chu su sungwa, totang be den bao.
Okay, good. Shidan landan debo jitar gyurnam kishipachate. Well, if you want to know how we establish these two truths, how do we describe them? You could talk about it in terms of the shi, you could talk about it in terms of the lam, you could talk about it in terms of the de, but we just had it with whose text?
The original condition, the path, and the result of the path.
Yeah, so original condition means how was things before you went to your first DCI talk. Then path means then you were educated about seeds. And then debu means, well, then you stopped yelling at your husband because you realize, or you stopped yelling at your kids especially, because you realize that's why your husband's yelling at you, okay? So you can discuss the two realities in terms of how were things when you started, how were things when you were on the training, in the training, and then how are things after you got your training. Okay, let's talk about the two realities from that point of view, okay? That's how we're gonna number shock them. That's how we're gonna describe them, okay? Shepachate, you should come to an understanding of this point by using these three distinctions, okay? They are nanzang de che chen.
Consider just the appearance?
Yeah, nanzang means the simple appearance. We could say of the husband. Okay, let's take the appearance of the husband, okay? Rangshin mete.
It does not have a self.
Yeah, he doesn't have his own nature. In the way that fire doesn't possess hardness, okay? He doesn't have his own nature. Why?
Because he exists in dependence.
What he is depends on other factors. In this case, the seeds created by yelling at your kids 3 days ago. Okay, so it's cool because that's dependent origination. This high Buddhist idea that all things occur in dependence is no more complicated than understanding that the anger of your husband is dependent on the seeds you planted when you yelled at your kids last week. That's dependent origination. Don't go complicated. Don't make it philosophy. That's real dependent origination. Okay, got it? It could be. I don't remember. So let's take what it seems to appear to me, which is a yelling husband. Just that simple thing. He doesn't have a nature of his own because he's coming from yelling at the kids. And whatever nature I see is coming from me. He doesn't have any way. He's not a good person. He's not a bad person. He's not a nice person. He's not an angry person. This way. Whatever he is coming from me, from the seeds I planted. Okay, got it? Rangshin mete. Tende yimbe chipe teln jor. Jorwa is an ancient word for dak or rikpa, a full syllogism. And then tel means a syllogism in the form of
sarcastic statement.
A sarcastic statement. Okay. The opponent says all fruits are orange, colored orange. And we say, oh, so I guess apples are orange. Yeah. And that's called a logical statement of sarcasm or absurdity.
Proof by absurdity.
Okay, I'll say it again. He says all fruits are orange. So we say, I guess bananas are orange, or we guess apples are orange. And that's all. We logically defeated his idea. Your wife says everything you do is stupid, and you say, well, I was going to take you out to the restaurant tonight. I guess it's stupid. Let's just forget it. Okay? It's a sarcasm. Okay? You respond with a sarcasm.
No restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay? So there it is. Tel jor. It's a logic in the form of an absurdity.
Yeah.
Now he's doing the kitchen thing. If you look in this statement, you can find both realities.
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you look in the kitchen, you can find both realities.
What-
Dila demanika tsang, complete. You can find this little logical statement. What was it? Take the appearance of your husband, okay? It's not have its own nature because it's coming from your seeds. Okay, take that statement. Inside there are both the realities.
Yeah.
Inside there. Now it's like an Easter egg hunt, right? Now go find the two realities in that statement. I'll say the statement again. Somebody for $100, tell me what the two realities are in that statement. Okay, ready? Here's the statement. I have an angry husband appearing to me in the kitchen. Okay, let's consider that. Okay, A. Wait, let me finish the question. B. He has no nature coming from his own side. C. Because he's coming from the seeds I planted when I yelled at my kids last week. He's not an angry husband from his own side. Now, he claims, our author claims, that both the realities are in that statement. So how much I said? $10?
$100. You can lower
Okay,
it.
go.
Oh, well,
It just, I know where it's going. It's going to mooncake, so I don't mind. I don't mind throwing in some money for mooncake.
Arangshin Mete is ultimate reality. And
Good.
Tendril,
What? Say it in English. He,
lack of self.
No.
He doesn't have any nature of his own.
yeah, he's not angry from his side.
Yeah.
That's ultimate reality.
Tendril Yimpe Chiad means because he's dependent upon other things, specifically depending upon me yelling at the kids last week.
Yelling at your poor little thing.
Yeah, good.
Doesn't even have
Okay, $100. I mean, it was a slow $100, but okay, shopping.
$100
Okay.
yelling at mooncake.
Yeah.
I'll do it all day.
Now let's translate to Tibetan. Dila dimba nika tsang.
Has both this little statement, this proof by absurdity has both of the two truths completely.
Yeah, and what it means is, the feeling he wants to give in this sentence is, look, everything's in the kitchen. You can find everything. It's all there. What he just said, Dila demba nika tsang. He's saying, it's all there. It's all there. Okay, right there in the kitchen. Don't talk philosophy, two realities. They're both in the kitchen. Okay, he's getting excited. He wants you to get excited, but everyone's asleep. Okay, that's the song.
Yeah, what we take as the reason has deceptive truth, and what we take as
Good.
the
Drupjecha.
the thing to be proven,
Yeah.
that has ultimate truth.
Now, Gyaltsab J, before he met Tsongkhapa and became his #1 student, and held his lineage afterwards, got his hat, for example. The last thing Tsongkhapa did in his life was toss his hat to Gyaltsab J. There's a picture of it. So anyway, before he met Tsongkhapa, he was a great logician. He was the greatest logician in Tibet before he met Tsongkhapa. And he tried to hassle Tsongkhapa, and then he became his #1 disciple. And that story is a long story, beautiful story, involving cow poop, which you can explain to your sister offline. So he doesn't always give you the whole wording when he talks logic. When he talks syllogisms and parts of syllogisms, he's the greatest logician Tibet ever has seen. So he doesn't use the whole word. He says, just read, and he means reason. I say, just the read. And you're like, what? The read. And it's a reason, okay? And what you're trying to prove, what are you trying to prove? The quality you are trying to prove. He says, what? The read goes to the what? You got it, man? It's like Brooklyn talk. The read is into what? That's all he said here. The read is into what? And you have to know logic you have to stretch out the words, okay? What means what you're trying to prove. Re means reason, okay, got it? So the thing he gave as a reason, which was what?
He gave Tendra.
No, in the kitchen. Go back to the kitchen.
The fact that the husband is dependent upon you having other
Yeah,
children.
good. That's kunsobdemba.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Translate.
Oh, that's deceptive reality.
Yeah, when I say deceptive reality, I'm talking about the thing that came from the seeds, because he doesn't look like he came from seeds. Got it? You think he's just yelling. You don't realize he's yelling because you yelled at the kids last week, okay? Therefore, he's deceptive. He cheats you, he lies to you, he's fake. He's jada, not gender, okay? He's not what he seems, okay? So the thought, the thing put in the reason's position in the syllogism, which he didn't say, is deceptive reality. Now, where do you find the ultimate reality in this syllogism?
In the quality that we're trying to prove.
Yeah, which he just calls the quality. And if you don't know logic well, it doesn't make any sense at all. Okay. So when he says "che," he means "drupje che sesor," which means the quality you're trying to prove. Okay, got it? In a syllogism, in a logical statement. Okay, got it? Okay, just nod.
Oh,
There's a skill for DCI people.
this is the easiest thing that's ever happened in this class.
That, to call drupje che, come on.
Oh, no, not that. Yeah.
It's nasty. Okay, go. De la,
De la Tendra tok.
not 10.
De la ten. Tok pe. Lo rang shin me par tok pe.
Yeah, I like it.
Yorwa yin pe. Drupja tok pe lo tak tok pa le ke gu pe chi.
This is a beautiful sentence. You have the equipment to translate it if you go slow. You could, all of you could translate it. It's actually an understandable sentence.
The mind that realizes dependence.
Yeah, the mind that realizes that the husband is coming from the seeds of what I planted when I yelled at my kids, okay? That state of mind is a tap for tokpa rangshin mepo.
That state of mind is a reason.
No, tap.
The method.
Oh, a method. Yeah.
Yeah, is a method.
Realization of things don't.
Good.
Self-interest of things.
Good. The understanding that my husband is coming from the seeds I planted when I yelled at my kids is a methodology for seeing that he's not who he seems to be. Okay? Which is emptiness. Okay? Got it? So understanding his dependence on causes is the roadway to see his emptiness. Okay, that he's not what I thought he was, which means he's angry because he had a bad day and he was tired and he's hungry. He's empty of those. He's just 100% coming from you. His mood has nothing to do with his day, the traffic, the food, nothing. It's 100% coming from you yelling at your kids. Okay, got it? There's no part of him that's not coming from you. Okay, and the way to realize that is to realize that he is coming from you. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Drupja tok pe lo tak tok. Oh, we already read that.
No, we didn't. Translate this well and I don't know. I'm tired of giving you money. I'll cook a breakfast for you within the next 10 years.
Okay, so realization of the drupja of the thing to be proven.
Yeah, the quality you're trying to prove, which the other guy doesn't accept yet,
The realization
that the husband has no nature of his own. Okay.
Okay, you've got to bring about that realization in your mind.
No.
Oh,
If you realize the thing to be proven, then by necessity you realize the reason as well.
No.
because you must.
If you're interested in realizing how the husband doesn't come from himself, that's going to depend on, you must depend on realizing
Oh.
the thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're interested, so drupja tok. Yeah. You've got to. You must realize. You must understand the reason. You must get the reason.
Yeah, in order to get
In
the
order
quality
to-
to be proven.
In order to get the quality.
Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Good, good. And technically, an understanding of why the quality proven is there depends on an understanding of the thing that the other person has used as a reason. Okay,
sure.
got it?
Absolutely, totally agree.
Which is to say, an understanding of deceptive reality is the path to an understanding of ultimate reality.
He's just
Cool.
restating it in different ways.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Mhm.
It's very cool. Okay. Understanding he comes from his seeds is an understanding of deceptive reality. Understanding he didn't come from anything else is an understanding of ultimate reality, and one depends on the other. Understanding one depends on understanding the other. You can't understand that he's not coming from his seeds until you understand he is coming from his seeds. Got it? Yay. That understanding must be generated in this way. Okay, or, okay. It's a statement about logic also. It's kind of cool. And it's pretty typical of a guy who's, Mr. One logician in Tibet. Okay, go ahead.
We're out of time.
Come on, one more sentence. We don't have any more classes after that, right?
No.
Okay, one more sentence for free.
Okay. Low down.
Go ahead. They're making fun of me, not you. Okay. They're making fun of both of us, but this time it's me. Okay, go. Lode. Not gom. Com.
Lotampote kompar jepe lam ki kapsu sunam ki toksun yorla chima kompe yeshe ki toksun yorwa yinla
Yeah, good.
geparna harutu chimpa truko.
Now, listen. He's coming up to you like the guy who taught you the two husbands in the kitchen. Okay, you ready? We're about to say this final blessing poem, which every Buddhist in Tibet says at the end of every scriptural class, and it happens to come from
This
Nick's book.
yeah, Nagarjuna's roots.
Every Tibetan in the Gelugpa monastery says this verse at the end of a class, and we do too, and it comes from his book, which is cool.
The last verse.
It's the last verse of his book. Okay, ready? I didn't say wrap up your cord. You gotta listen. I'm just kidding. Not.
They have a quiz.
Oh, they have a quiz. Okay, let's go fast. So, Gewadi, Gewoko, Sonam Yeshito. May I assemble
The collections.
good karma, and may I assemble understanding. And he says, you can find those in this kitchen. Where?
The first mind.
Yeah,
Kompar jepe lam.
which is below. By the way,
Sunam comes from understanding dependent origination, and Yeshe comes from understanding the...
well, what he says is,
The time that you
if you get used to the first state of mind, okay, then at the state of the path, remember he's Shilam Debu? No, he's sticking to his Shilam Debu. Okay, you're gonna do the collection of good deeds, which, by the way, produces the physical body of a Buddha. Okay, and if you understand the second state of mind and you get used to it, Chima, then you're gonna get the collection of wisdom. Okay, and then you'll collect the Buddha's mind. Okay, there's two kinds of good karmas. One creates the body of a Buddha, one creates the mind of a Buddha. Okay, what's the one that, if you get used to it, creates the body of a Buddha? Is the first state of mind I mentioned.
Right.
And what's the state of mind that, if you get used to it, creates the mind of a Buddha? It's the second state of mind I mentioned. What's the first state of mind he mentioned?
Dependent origination.
Actually, no. It's emptiness. The first one is emptiness.
Really?
Yeah, well, it comes first in the syllogism, right? Because dependence is the reason.
I love this question. I love this fight. Now, logically speaking, which should be which?
It seems the other way around. It would be
Yeah,
dependence,
yeah.
The collection of merit.
Now, in the syntax of English, what he said was, to understand that things are empty, you have to understand that they are dependent. the syntax reversed.
Yeah.
Reverse the syntax and then tell me who's first.
If you understand dependence, then you can understand that things are empty.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But in Tibetan, the syntax is reversed, okay? An understanding of dependence leads to an understanding of emptiness.
But the Tibetan said emptiness
But
first.
he does not speak English in either case.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway,
Okay.
which one would be like super, super duper? Which state of mind?
They're both pretty good.
No, I mean, come on.
That would be the emptiness.
Yeah, so that's easy.
One merely necessarily leads.
So now, this is the translation principle of knowing what it has to say and then proving that it does. Okay, and you got to use this principle. Okay, so the latter state of mind, that if you meditate on it, you get the wisdom of a Buddha. That better be the perception of emptiness. I don't care if it's first or second. Okay,
That's really weird.
and the one that if you work on it, you will tend to be a better person,
Yeah.
which will collect all this good karma, and you'll get a Buddha body. That's dependence. Now just go back and
Somehow massage things.
fit it into it. And that's just the principle of translation.
Yeah, okay.
The more other people's texts you sit in, the more you will be able to translate your text,
Unless he's
because you know what it has to say.
Because he was pretty specific. Now, I wouldn't say Justin hasn't done things like that before where he forgot what he said in line before, but it appears to. But Pabonka Rinpoche, didn't he in the Three Principal Paths do this thing where he kind of flips it just to make you think about it?
Papa,
you're right.
It's the spears that are leaning on each other. Anyway, that's a long story.
I think these guys got to get to their quiz.
Emptiness removes
They gotta
the
get-
existence.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that means you can massage it either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Anyway, there you go.
Oh, it's going to take some work.
Yeah, you work on it, but you have the equipment.
Yeah,
You have everything you need.
Regardless of the first or second.
right. Sashi
Buddhi Jushin Metocham Riraming Shin Yunde Namani Sangye Shindu Mite Uwargi Jokunanda Shingla Juparsho Yam Guru Radhamandala Kamhira Hayami
Kewa
Di Dewo Kun Sanam Yeshe Tsotsoshin Sanam Yeshe Lechungwe Damba Kunyi Toparsho. Mr. Nick,
Senor
where's that book?
Juan.
Oh, I put it on the shelf in there.
Oh,
You want to show it to Christine?
yeah.
$20.
No, wait. Get one. And I want to make a
It's in
gift.
the scriptorium on the top shelf.
Guess what was there a line right before?
On the left side of the room.
Was there a line right before? Because he had a low. Was there a low before that low?
Oh, yeah, which is which? Which is first, which is later?
Right above that. Next line above.
What's there?
Could that be the first?
No, I don't think so. You gotta, it's easy. You know what it has to be, then just read the first part that way. I'd like to, on behalf of the Mixed Nuts Translator Group, we would like to present you with this special sponsor's gold expensive copy of our first book. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving the director of our program a breather.